young school teacher was found with over 20 kitchen utensil wounds, mostly to the back of her head and neck. And they said that it was self-done. Welcome to the deep dive of Ellen Greenberg. This is episode 1, the overview. On January 26, 2011, 27-year-old school teacher Ellen Greenberg was found in her apartment. She had been kitchen utensiled over 20 times, and yet it was ruled self-done. This is one case that forensic experts, investigators, and true crime people like me have just wondered about for years. So I'm starting a deep dive. This is the first episode where I talk about the case in general. Then we're going to get into specifics. And when I say specifics, I mean down to seconds in the timeline and her injuries, exactly where they were and how deep. And we are going to talk about whether this was self-done or whether someone else did this. There's a ton of unanswered questions in this case, and I am so ready to get started with you and figure them all out. Click follow and let's begin. Ellen Greenberg taught first grade, which, bless those people. She lived in Philadelphia, and she was getting ready to get married to her fiance, Sam Goldberg. She absolutely had everything from the outside. I mean, look at her, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, that smile could just attract anyone and everyone, and she was kind and loving. That snowy afternoon, her classes were canceled at her school, and so she went home, and her fiance was there. They hung around the apartment a little bit, and then Sam said he was going to go work out at the gym that they had in their apartment. He left their apartment around 4:45, and he returned about 30 minutes later to find the door latched and locked from the inside. He began calling Ellen, texting Ellen, trying to get her attention to come let him in, and he was starting to get angry. He went up and down the elevator trying to get someone to let him into the apartment, the doorman, someone at all to be able to let him in. It was a huge ordeal, and we're going to get into every single second of it. But eventually, he broke the door down, and he went in and found Ellen. She was slumped against the cabinets, and she was unalived, and there was red all around her. He called 911, and on the 911 call, he said he couldn't figure out where the red was coming from. At first, he thought she might have hit her head, and then he realized that there was a kitchen utensil in her chest. When they get in to try to figure out what happened to Ellen, they find the most disturbing scene and something that's just baffling. She had over 20 kitchen utensil wounds, and most were to the back of her neck and her head. Because of this, they thought, okay, this is someone else did this to her. But there was no signs of forced entry into the apartment other than what Sam had did. And the door was locked from the inside, so they quickly thought maybe there's more to the story here. But then again, Ellen had bruises all over her body that were in different stages of healing. Something was going on with Ellen that was a lot deeper. And when they discovered that she had been looking up different ways of self-unaliving, things got really strange. At the first initial looking at her body, the medical examiner did rule this as someone else did this to her. But after a closed meeting with the investigators, they changed it to self-done. And Ellen's case is something that even the biggest experts disagree on. They can't figure out if it was self-done or if it was someone else. And they go back and forth quite a bit. One of the biggest things in this case is that whatever happened in this, the kitchen utensil did hit Ellen's vertebrae. So there's a possibility that she could have been paralyzed, which means she wouldn't have been able to do the rest of the wounds. This case has been ruled one of the most mysterious cases. And like I said, experts are even baffled by what happened here. But Ellen's parents say this was not self-done, that there was no way that Ellen did this to herself. And they have spent years and years fighting. In court, these scientists, they have been fighting to get justice for their daughter. There are really only two main theories, that she did this herself or that someone else did it. And the only suspect near her is her own fiancé, Sam. And Sam had big connections. He had 2 lawyers very close in the family that he did call that day and was on the phone with when he found Ellen. The 911 call is bizarre. He sounds very odd, and he even at one point says, like, do I have to give her CPR? Truth in this case is still up for interpretation. They go back and forth in court, and it's still being fought to this day. So I want to lay out every aspect of this case for you, both sides, every detail I can, so you can make up your own mind. This case is one where you're going to be laying up at night wondering what happened, because I know that I do. So click the follow button, share this video, like, and I will see you tomorrow.